One thing that I never actually thought I would ever see is a obesity convention.
Maybe we should go and pass out Ozempic. They made this event sound sexy. Oh my God. This picture paired with sexy. You've got to be kidding me.
Strange individuals doing just about the most odd type of things you could ever think of. They're literally there to...
There are conventions to celebrate everything. Sci-fi, guns, anime, you name it. In 2024, a bunch of obese people decided to get together and create a convention called FatCon. It's a celebration of obesity and obese people. I didn't think it was real at first. Yes, it's a real thing. And guess what city it's in? Try and guess. That's right, it's in Seattle. Of course it is. Let's look at FatCon. FatCon 2025 puts fat liberation front and center. Now it's in its second year. FatCon is back once again to put the fun in fat within extensive schedule of events centering around celebrating the fat community. Founded by lauded burlesque performer and advocate MX Pucks Aplenty, the 3-day convention is bringing together speakers, athletes, performers from all around the country for workshops, performers, markets, and pool parties, all with the goal to uplift fat liberation as praxis and practice. From January 31st to February 2nd, FatCon will take over King Street Ballroom at the Embassy Suites in Pioneer Square. It's the biggest convention centering fat people on the West Coast with over 300 hours of programming. Attendees will have the chance to listen to keynote speakers, hiker and mental health advocate Andy Neal, motivational speaker Mermaid Che Monique, and size inclusion expert Andrea Kelly. FatCon sibling event also produced by Puck's production company, Puckduction, Fat Less Fest Northwest will happen in the evenings January 30th to February 1st, giving con attendees something to do both in the day and in the evening. The idea for FatCon came to Puck's back in 2022 as someone who straddles both the burlesque and con spaces. Puck knew that they wanted to bring together a series of activities for fat people in the region with nighttime entertainment. For years, Pucks has been an activist for queer, black, and fat artists, organizing events like What the Funk and All People of Color Burlesque Festival as a means of community building. A convention specifically celebrating fat joy liberation seemed like a natural extension of previous work. Over the years, the body positivity movement has kind of backed away from really uplifting the experiences of fat people and become more of a catch-all for anyone, said Pucks in a recent interview. You were noticing lots of white women doing yoga, being the body positivity. It was getting further and further away from the discrimination that folks receive and just the rampant fat phobia that's out there. Fellas, would you do it on a slow Tuesday? A slow Tuesday. Are you guys gonna, any woods in here? Any woods? All right, this is, do you know what? It's unfortunate because some of these women would probably be hot if the fatness wasn't there. Well, all right. FatCon comes as the country reckons with Ozempic, Wegovy, and other semaglutide drugs, which were originally developed for people living with diabetes and which are now being used by thousands as a quick way to lose weight. Fat and plus size celebrities, social media influencers, and regular people have begun to shrink before our eyes in what can be seen as a pointed backlash against body positivity or neutrality and self-acceptance. Events like FatCon serve as a space for fat people to remember they aren't alone. The idea is that a good body is a thin body, and it is not true. You can be healthy in a fat body, and you can be radically unhealthy in a thin body, and everything in between, reflected Pucks. Our society is really good at making marginalized people feel like it's all in their head. They're all alone. They're separate from, and that's not true at all. I think one of the most beautiful things about FatCon is that it's a chance for people to make fat friends. Simple as that. Despite the event's joy-centered nature, last year's iteration received some backlash online. My Northwest, a local conservative website, dubbed the event an incredibly dangerous backward movement that harms the very people it pretends to liberate. And the concept of fat liberation demands that society and institutions pretend there are no significant health consequences of obesity. Pucks and and their fellow FatCon organizers saw the outcry as an excellent promotion. They made this event sound sexy. Oh my God. This picture paired with sex, you've got to be kidding me. They said, however, FatCon did receive a lot of hate emails and people lashing out on social media. There was this extreme hatred for us being like, cool, we'll throw an event where we can just hang out. It was upsetting for them, and the fact that we want to be together and talk about things that are of interest to us. FatCon will feature tons of themed meet and greets for people to link up with fat people of different backgrounds, Pilates and yoga down. They can do yoga at that size? I can barely, no way. This one's in a wheelchair, no way. Guys, it's time to hit the treadmill. Oh my gosh, okay. It is an immersive event that Pucks hopes will serve as a launch point in the future. At the end of the day, we want people to leave the event being like, I got the phone number of one person I can call, and I'm not gonna feel like I'm doing this all on my own. But you are doing this on your own. I mean, you guys could like celebrate being fat together for a little bit, but when you go home, you're still like, you are going to stick out even in America. Do you know how fat you have to be to stick out for being fat in America? You can be pretty chubby and be considered somewhat thin in America. But if you're sticking out as a fat person in America, you have problems. Okay, so now I'm going to look at their IG. Oh, wow.
Be there.
Oh my gosh. I need to go. I think this would be hilarious. Should I buy a ticket? Should we go and bring a camera crew?
Somebody's watching me. Is my anxiety.
Oh. Fellas, would you? Would you do it? I actually think you guys wouldn't. Do you know what? I give you guys a lot of shit. I think this is too big even for you guys. Oh, God. Oh, God, that's so fat.
Well, it's impossible to pick one thing that was my favorite part about FatCon. The whole weekend has been amazing. We've had
Come with me on a big fat road trip to FatCon. There were signs all along the way that we were headed in the right direction. What a gorgeous 3-day drive with some important business stops along the way. We made it to Seattle, and it was time to start setting up for FatCon. But look at this gorgeous room we got to stay in all weekend. After a busy night of setting up in the vendor's alley, I was ready for y'all. And you were ready for me. Thank you so much for the support. It was such a treat to watch everyone try my pants on. So cute. Fat joy everywhere. There were so many activities, and I got to participate in a few. The printmaking was back, and here's me having my little Avril Lavigne moment. Of course, there was a fat
my God.
party, and people were wearing my suits, which I love. Bingo! No, I didn't win. Fatties After Dark with an ice cream social. Here are my gorgeous models for the plus-size fashion show. You can be my Melody or Karomi in my cargo pants. Watch out, we're back on the road, and I am selling pants out of the back of our van. We had a lovely pop-up at I Want Seconds in Portland. Thank you to all who came out. And on the last day, we had a rainbow. Yay! Come with me on
Oh my gosh. All right, then we got a video here.
Celebrate things for fun. We have all sorts of conventions in the world where people come together to celebrate the thing that they enjoy. Typically it's car conventions, bodybuilding conventions, fitness expos, I mean, you name it, gun expos. I mean, there's tons of stuff all out there. One thing that I never actually thought I would ever see is a obesity convention. No, this isn't a convention about getting away from obesity. This isn't a convention about health. And
maybe we should go and pass out Ozempic. Guys, all right, if you guys want me to go, from this video, I want 1,000 signups. Yeah, 1,000 of you to get my $10 a month membership, okay? And I will go to FatCon. You know what? I'll be nice. We'll go down to 500. And I will go to FatCon and I will pass out Ozempic and maybe workout and diet plans.
And trying to embrace a better lifestyle or free resources being available to the general public to improve their health.
You know what? I could say one thing. When fat women dress slutty, they're really committed to the cause because modesty only counts if you got something to show off. So these women are straight hoes. I mean, because they got nothing to show off and they still want to do it. They just do it for the love of the game.
The opposite. You know, what this is an embracing of obesity and not just the small amount of obesity.
This would be like a crack convention. Like, that's the equivalent of an obesity convention. Would be like if a bunch of crackheads got together and just said, we're happy being crackheads. They kind of do on the streets of London, I won't lie to you. They would where I lived, but you know.
Talking preposterous, huge, gargantuan people. Today we're going to talk about FatCon. And it might get me a lot of unsubscribes, which I don't know, I guess, sorry. This shit's just crazy. I have to talk about it. And it is exactly everything that you would think it is. A group of really, really overweight, strange individuals doing just about the most odd type of things you could ever think of. They're literally there to...
But which one of you is doing it? The only reason she has the confidence to be that naked is because one of you is doing her. I don't know who it is. But one of you.
To celebrate being unhealthy, to celebrate being obese and overweight as if it's a righteous thing. Talking about it, dancing about it, and doing, I guess, anything you can do with obesity. The weird thing is that in these videos you'll catch every once in a while just a random guy standing there out of several people, mostly comprising themselves of women. There's just, you know, some guys. And they're just kind of like realizing what they got themselves into at this point. I'm surprised they were even able to find a room to fit all of these people in, let alone a space in which the ground could actually support the amount of human mass in any one given location at a singular time. I mean, I just have to wonder that there is absolutely a architectural disaster waiting to happen here. They do a little runway show where all of the obese people get on stage and do the obesogenic activities, showing off their obesity to obese people clapping at other obese people being obese. And it's great. People are having an awesome time.
Somebody's gonna have a heart attack.
I'm sure it's lovely, but the practice of celebrating this is so wrong. Because the reality is this kind of stuff is just embracing people who are unhealthy, who are morbidly obese, who are going to cause massive impairments to their lifelong ability.
And not to mention the healthcare system. So in the UK, healthcare is free, right? I think if you get this fat, we should not have to pay for you. Now, I have a friend, he's Jack. I have two friends, actually. Both Jack came down with cancer. There was nothing they could have did. They both had six packs. But if you get sick and you look like this, that's officially on you. That is your fault.
To just live. And what is that guy doing there? The guy in the orange jumpsuit, literally, I think we know what he's doing there. Come on, brother.
Morning, y'all. I'm Tigress. I'm the executive director of NAFA, the National Association to Advance Fat Acceptance.
Yeah, you do look like the director of NAFA, the National Association to Advance Fat Acceptance. I mean, why do we even need something like this?
And I am at the airport at 5 o'clock in the morning because I am on my way to Seattle for the FatCon. And I can't wait to see all the beautiful plus-size people who are traveling from all over the country to be in community together. And as I always do when I am traveling domestically, I am flying on Southwest because of their customer of size policy. But as I have been for many months now since Southwest announced some changes to their seating procedures, I'm feeling a lot of anxiety about the future of this policy. Southwest has told travel influencers and some of our journalist friends that there won't be any changes to the customer of size policy. But the problem with that is, if there are no changes, but the rest of the seating procedures change, we don't know how that's going to affect the availability of second seats for people who need them.
They even have an accessibility description on the video, which it says this video features an NAAFA executive director, Tigress Osborne, talking about Southwest Airlines customers of size policy. Tigress is a fat, black, middle-aged woman.
I think if you're fat and your blubber is on top of me, it's time for you to get a second seat, okay? It is not my fault. Look, I love a good Culver's fried chicken sandwich like the rest of us, okay? I love ice cream. I love dessert. I love cookie. Like, I am a fat girl at heart, okay? But I torture myself daily, okay? I really do. I get up every day and I have to go run or work out and I torture myself that way. And then I go it's torture. You have to eat this like chicken breast and rice, okay? And I do that because I don't want to die someday of something stupid. I'd be so mad if I went out because of like a liver disease or something. You know what I mean? Like a heart. I would just be annoyed. Like if I want to go out, I want to go out in a way that's cool. Like a plane crash or something. But not now when I'm like old, right? If I'm 70 and I go out in a plane crash, that's kind of cool. Do you know what I mean? Like 75, you live a good life, right? But if you go out because of something that was preventable, what an L.
With like brown skin and freckles, she's wearing a black dress and a black and white hat and a pink K995 mask. Dude, I can't. Oh, she goes on to say that the Southwest Airlines changing their seating procedures is going to ruin what is the only airline left for fat people, and she's disturbed and anxious because she doesn't know how it's going to work. I just don't understand where this argument comes from. You are going...
Can you imagine these people explaining this? They're like problems to people in poverty. Can you imagine? Like I went to India when I was younger and they have very extreme poverty there. Can you imagine this fat woman like explaining to someone in poverty that her life is really hard because when she buys a seat, she's so fat, she now has to pay for two? I just can't imagine. I would pay to see it though. I'll set it up.
To be sitting in a plane that's fit for biologically normal people who aren't morbidly ill, okay? It's not their choice that they're healthy. Well, JK, it is, and it's your choice to be unhealthy. You could simply laterally move your lifestyle over to be slightly more healthy. I don't know, stop drinking calories or something, and then you'd be able to fit in the normal sized seats and you wouldn't have to worry about things such as this when inevitably the airline realizes how much value it's losing in accepting people like yourself and ditches you because they don't care. They care about the paycheck. That's literally all that matters. And of course, this place isn't all just about fat acceptance. They're doing kinky shit as well. And this just looks sick.
What the hell? It's like the reverse, like 50 Shades of Grey stuff.
Extremely painful. Someone's in ropes being choked with a obese person on top of them, and they're obese. I can't imagine the amount of strain that's going through their skull with the intracranial pressure caused by the excessive amount of adipose tissue right now. And they're selling tickets for $1,500.
We need to throw some events and raise our prices. They could charge $1,500 for this.
Dollars to celebrate being fat. I don't think anyone realizes the fact that they're literally just paying someone to celebrate their own downfall, and that person is gaining a large monetary amount of value from them celebrating that. It's just radical.
When Postmates delivers 6 times the amount of ice cream you ordered, you have no choice but to share.
Lobby eating ice cream at 11:30.
This is all fat women coping. Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine being that fat. Like you probably try to sleep with guys and they turn you down. Oh my gosh. You probably have to beg for sex. Ugh.
Yeah. Are you even at FatCon? I knew my fellow fatties would appreciate some gourmet ice cream, and they sure did. You guys, what's all this trash about? We have to pick up our trash. We can't have all these.
Do you know what? When people say they're big boned or like they don't know why they're fat, I'll tell you what. So like, I'll even use myself. So a couple of years ago, I tried to lose 20 pounds and I was like, I'm working out every day. This weight won't come off of me. And do you know what it was? It was these giant, like pure sugar drinks that I would have every morning. And I never counted you really got to count calories if you're going to lose weight. Like there's people that cannot do it, but those people were raised to eat healthy. And if that's not you, you got to do it for like 1 to 2 months. That's what I learned. I was like, I always avoided it. I'm like, maybe I'll just do this diet or that diet. No, you got to count and you got to know exactly what you're eating. Anyways, long story short, it's never like a secret. Like if you're fat, it's because it's never, people that are just naturally thin, they just naturally stop eating, right? So there's some people that have to work at this where they just like, Like they just have this inside of them, this intuitive eating bullshit. If you weren't born with that, it's never going to happen. You got to train it. Like it's just, yeah. So my friend works at a restaurant. He said like these super obese people would come in and they would just eat. So it's like, it's never a secret. It's the size of the plates.
Fatties leaving a bunch of trash.
Very demure, very mindful.
Very demure, very mindful.
Very demure, very mindful.
There's absolutely nothing mindful about this group of people except their ability to be mindless with how their body is shaped and what they're doing to it actively as we speak.
Hey to our beautiful fat community out there. If you've been on our socials, you've seen we've had a little bit of a popularity spike this past week. Your FatCon team loves this because that means the message of fat joy is getting spread around like glitter in a craft project. That means it's on every surface and you'll find it still stuck to you 3 days later. But we realize this popularity is triggering to our culture and brings out the worst of fat phobia. It's important that you know your FatCon team has been working hours every day to moderate our comments section. It's so important to us that our social channels not contribute to the trauma that our fat community experiences online. So we block every hateful, demeaning, and dehumanizing comment. Now we only have full control over the posts that directly come from FatCon. We have a little control over the posts that are collaborations with other individuals and businesses in our community. And we have no control over posts that FatCon gets tagged in. That is not to say that we don't want to collaborate and we don't want people to tag us. But that is to say that we want our community to remember that we don't owe anyone our shame. Say it with me this time. I don't owe anyone my.
I mean, you're going to have it when you look in the mirror, because if you looked like this, I mean, I felt shame when I was like 20 pounds overweight. I can't even imagine. These people hate them. There's just no way they don't, okay? Especially if they used to be hot. I bet some of these women used to be hot. That's why they say, a lot of the guys will say you got to hook up with the girls fast because they get ugly really fast.
Shame. Preach! We want you to know we are fighting with you and we are fighting for you. And we love you so damn much.
Yeah, and so the owner comes on here and talks about how the social media influence that they've been having is crazy because their videos are going viral because clearly it's wildly abnormal and people are commenting about it. And so they're having to police all of their comment sections to make a safe space for fat people, which the reality is, what she's defining is anyone who is in defiance of agreeing that fat is healthy is going to get banned or their comments removed. So people just being logical and sensible and maybe even compassionate about the health of others are going to get removed and banned because they simply have a difference of actual factual knowledge, not even just opinion. Like, this is objective information. And look, I'm not here to sit and talk about how shitty other people are because I'm not the best person in the world, but I think when it comes to fat and obesity, I think it's a pretty clear delineation or stratification to make what is healthy and what is not. And if you talk to the average populace, like just walking down the street and you pull someone aside and talk to them and said, hey, do you think being obese is healthy? They'd probably say, no, that's really fucking terrible. Like, don't be obese. What? It makes no sense to be celebrating obesity as if it's a good thing. And I get like fat acceptance or being accepted into a group. I don't think fat people should be shunned away from opportunities or people or friend groups, but it doesn't mean that we should accept it and even.
I don't know. I think it could maybe be helpful for them. Now, like, because if you're that big, there's just no way this doesn't trickle into every area of your life. Like, some of these people were in wheelchairs. You're so fat that you have to inconvenience everybody around you. Now, like, you have to inconvenience the person next to you on the flight. You have to inconvenience your family, who is going to have to take care of you when you start dying. You are literally inconveniencing every single person in your life. So, I mean, that's my 2 cents. I can't believe this is actually a real thing. But hey, if you guys want to go to FatCon, I guess enjoy yourself. And if we get 500 signups from this video, I will, at theaudacitynetwork.com, the link's in the description, I will go to the next FatCon and I will interview people. Like the video and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.